Share via email. Report story. Again Ochako seemed momentarily taken aback, but then she softened a bit, and it struck him that her gentle smile looked even prettier when her cheeks were pink. Half to distract himself from that train of thought, and half because some small part of his brain was still capable of useful observation, he cast around the room for a moment before spotting his hairbrush on the corner of his desk. Here, he offered, grabbing for it as she dropped her pajamas on top of the rest of his laundry. If you want. Everyone got a little messy in all the commotion. Thanks, she said again, quieter now after a quick glance around. She perched carefully on the very edge of his bed and began to brush out her hair. Izuku stared for just a moment before he caught himself, jerking back to life and returning to his closet to pull out the blanket he'd promised her. It was a soft little throw blanket he'd had around for years, an all-might print, of course, a limited edition run they'd done as a promotion to go with his interview in Kids Hero magazine when Izuku was 9. He'd convinced his mother to stand in line with him for 2 hours before the mall opened one early Saturday morning just to make sure he got one. Now he unfolded it with a little smile on his face before turning and shaking it out, tossing it around Ochako's shoulders. There you go, he said warmly, his embarrassment temporarily forgotten as he sat down in his desk chair to face her. Putting down the hairbrush, Ochako giggled slightly. I'm gonna overheat now, Deku, she pointed out. Ah. Sorry, he grinned, sheepish. I was just trying to be helpful. You're always trying to be helpful, she sighed, shaking her head a little. She shrugged the blanket away from her shoulders, but didn't move it any further when it simply gathered around her arms. It's nice, though, it's sweet. Izuku laughed slightly, feeling oddly self-conscious. It was funny, he reflected. Normally he was really comfortable with Ochako, but sometimes he felt himself suddenly tripping over his every action. Usually when he thought too much about things. But he couldn't help it. Really, he'd never been this close with a female friend before he met her. And certainly not one as cute as she was. Now there was a subject he'd been trying not to give too much consideration lately. This is really comfy, Ochako said softly, interrupting his train of thought just in time. She was looking down, fingering the cuff of one sleeve. I don't think I've ever seen you wear it. I never really do, to be honest, he answered with a one-shouldered shrug. I was only on the trivia team for a little while, because my teacher thought more extracurriculars would look good on my application for it's too nice a sweatshirt to throw out, but it usually stays in the bottom of my drawer, I guess. Trivia team seems like a good fit for you, she mused, smiling again as she snuggled into the fleece. Well, it's your loss. I'm not sure if I want to give it back. Why, you can have it, if you want, he heard himself tell her, and then he clamped his mouth shut, feeling the blood once again rushing to his cheeks. What? She looked up at him sharply, startled and blushing to mirror him. I was joking, Deku. It has your name on it. Quote dot dot dot. Yes. It does, Izuku agreed, hating the way his voice squeaked. But, the offer still stands. Like I said, I never wear it. He could feel himself sweating now for a guy who spent way too much time in his head. He was atrocious at thinking before he spoke, sometimes. Where did he think he was taking this? Ochako was growing more flustered by the second, waving her hands in front of her. I mean, that's really sweet of you, Deku, but like your name I mean, people would think, she started to tug awkwardly at the hem. I should probably just give this back to you now. And no, hang on to it, he objected quickly, starting to stand up. I didn't mean to embarrass you. Forget I said anything, but you were cold, and the whole dorm is kinda cool overnight lately, so please at least keep it for the night. She slowed to a pause, the bottom of the hoodie pulled partway up her stomach to reveal his t-shirt underneath it, and tentatively met his eye. Her face was at least as red as his own felt, and her lips were sucked in like she was holding her breath, and for a second or so they just stared at each other. Quote dot dot dot, you just can't help it, can you? She said in a small voice. I can't help what? Being so nice all the time, she mumbled, letting go of the sweatshirt's hem and wrapping her arms self-consciously around herself instead. So much it's kind of ridiculous. I mean. Taken aback, Izuku sank back into his chair. Oh, of course I'm nice to you. I like you. Her eyes widened a little, and now it was his turn to start waving his hands around. I mean, Deku, she groaned, suddenly pulling the blanket he'd given her up her back and over her head, half hiding her face. Why you're just too much, you dork. Suddenly she stood up, tugging the blanket back just far enough to see but swinging towards his door at the same time so he didn't get the chance to look her in the eye. I'm gonna go back downstairs and see what people have figured out for sleeping tonight. Izuku watched her, face burning, as she shuffled hurriedly out of his bedroom and into the hall, leaving the door ajar behind her. He could hear her footsteps retreating, and it was only when she must have been just about to reach the elevator that he managed to leap up out of his chair and follow her. Uraraka. Wait, he squawked, though he still wasn't altogether sure what he was going to say when he caught up with her. She paused, only steps from the elevator doors, and then swung around and shuffled back. Her face was still downcast, but she raised her eyes just enough to peer at him from beneath the edge of his blanket. He took a step closer, still uncertain. Uraraka, I'm really sorry. Ochako, she corrected him quietly. He blinked. Quote dot dot dot. What? She sighed, obviously still embarrassed, but she cleared her throat slightly and said a little louder, it's been more than long enough. You should call me Ochako. And, you don't have to apologize for anything. She sounded somehow both resolute and nervous. Oh, Izuku swallowed. He didn't think he even completely knew what was happening anymore, but he didn't want to leave anything hanging, where it might make things weird later. Well, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I just wanted to help. And then Ochako smiled a little bit, her brows furrowed. I know, Deku, and I really do appreciate that. Oh, okay, yeah, good. Ochako's smile grew a bit, and then she nodded and turned toward the elevator again. As she pressed the button to go down, Izuku stammered, Oh, Ochako. He didn't know why. It wasn't like he had any more idea what to say to her now than he'd had a moment ago. The doors slid open, and she turned to face him as she stepped in. I might just have to steal this hoodie after all, she told him, still blushing but grinning, now, too. Izuku's heart sped up in his chest as the elevator door closed and Ochako disappeared from view. Where stories live. Discover now.